Hello, second graders. Welcome to Number Corner. It's our first day of our November calendar. So exciting. I can't wait to see the new cards and patterns. Let's look at our objectives for today. We're going to focus on telling time to the hour and half hour. So let's take a look at our calendar grid and take a look at some of our new cards. All right, as you can see, I put out all the cards for November so far, since today is November 4th. So I put out November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The date today is Wednesday, November 4th. So I can write that with the whole full word of November 4th, 2020. I can abbreviate November like this, 4th, 2020. Or I can write 11 because November is the 11th month of the year, -4-20. That's the shorter way to write today's date. All right, so let's take a look at our cards so far. Take a moment and make some observations. What do you notice about each one? If you said something about time or clocks, you are correct. Let's take a look at our first one on Sunday. That shows an analog clock. An analog clock shows the numbers 1 through 12 going all the way around the clock face. I also see those rotating hands that show the hours, minutes, and sometimes the seconds. This second clock here shows a digital clock. This one only uses numbers to show the time. Now, what do you notice about these two? They look like watches that you can wear on your wrist. Now, this one looks really similar to an analog clock. So this is an analog watch because it has those numbers 1 through 12 around the clock face and the rotating hands. Whereas this one is a digital wristwatch because it just shows the numbers. All right, so let's look back at card number 1. The time on this clock shows 12 o'clock. I know this because I see both hands are pointing to the 12. Now on card 2, this digital clock shows me right away that it's 12:30. Can you tell me how much time has passed from 12 o'clock to 12:30? If you knew it was 30 minutes, you are correct. Did you know that 30 minutes is the same as a half hour? Here, let me show you on our clock. So it's showing 12 o'clock like on that very first analog clock. When I go and move the minute hand to the 6, that shows 12:30. Let's review. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now notice when I moved that minute hand down to the 6, the minute hand traveled halfway around the clock face. And that's why we say 30 minutes is the same as a half hour because half way around the clock. Pretty cool. So that means that we are going to look and see how much time has passed from 12 o'clock to 12:30 because part of our observation chart will be figuring out how much time has passed from clock to clock. So as we said, 12 o'clock to 12:30 showed a difference of 30 minutes or a half hour. And we added 30 minutes to the 12. So I'm going to do a plus sign because we added 30 minutes. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. This one is going to be 12:30 to 1 o'clock. How much time has passed from 12:30 to 1 o'clock? Well, let's look at our clock here again. That means that my minute hand is going around the other half of the clock, and it's going to be 1 o'clock, from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. So how much time has passed? If you said a half hour, you are correct, because, again, my minute hand traveled around the other half of that clock face. So another half hour has passed, or that's the same as 30 minutes. Nice job. So I can fill that in. We went from 12:30 to 1 o'clock, was adding another 30 minutes. And now let's look at going from 1 o'clock to 1:30. How much time has passed from 1 o'clock to 1:30? If you said another 30 minutes, you are correct. Excellent work. So let's go ahead and take a look at our observation chart for November. We'll be filling in the date, the type of timepiece. So that's going to be whether or not it's an analog clock, digital clock, maybe an analog watch or a digital watch, the time that it shows, and then how much time has passed from clock to clock. So let's go ahead and fill in what we have so far. I'm going to start with Sunday, which was November 1st. So I'm going to do 11 for November 1st, -20. Now let's look back. November 1st showed what type of clock? Do you remember the name of it? It's an analog clock. And that time showed 12 o'clock. And it was our starting time, so no time had passed. So I'm just going to draw a line there. Now I'll move on to November 2nd. That one showed what kind of clock is that one? It just shows you the numbers. That's correct. It's a digital clock. And that time showed me 12:30 with those numbers. And we said that that was an increase of 30 minutes. I'm going to abbreviate minutes, or a half hour. And let's move on to November 3rd. That was the watch. And remember, that watch face is an analog watch face because the numbers 1 through 12 go around the clock face, and it has the rotating hands. So that we will call an analog watch. And that time showed 1 o'clock, which was again adding another 30 minutes or half hour. And lastly, for today, the 4th, let's take a look. We had another watch, and it's a digital watch. It just shows me the numbers. So I'm going to write digital watch. That time shows 1:30, which was another increase of 30 minutes or a half hour. Maybe you're already noticing some patterns. We had an analog clock, digital clock, analog watch, digital watch. And here we were always adding 30 minutes or a half hour. 30 minutes, half hour is the same thing. So I'm really excited to see what other patterns happen throughout the next few days. All right. Lastly, we're going to continue with our number line. So we always want to look at that number in the tens place. It's increasing by 1 every time. So after 450, today would be 460. Awesome. All right, boys and girls, excellent job with Number Corner today. Now you can take a quick break or go on Dreambox. Make sure to return to your class at 2:35. Enjoy the rest of your day.